Hey everyone, today I wanted to bring a video on the Brouver deck that I showcased in the Scuffed Meta snapshot. I've been taking a bit of a look at it on stream the past few days, and it is Molegion's Trap Scoia'tael Brouver deck. It is a deck used in the Open Qualifier to do very well, and a deck that I've been, I guess, learning to play on stream, and it's been a lot of fun. It works a lot differently to a lot of other decks, and there's some mind games going on, some cool like little tricks you can do, and quite a high skill ceiling, I think, with stuff like proccing your own traps to flip them over, and outplaying your opponent in a variety of ways. And yeah, I just found it to be quite fun. It was also pretty strong. I won a fair amount of games today, although I did then lose quite a few as well. I think there are a few matchups which aren't particularly great. I was really struggling against Eredin, for example, and Crack was a bit of a pain to deal with as well. But apart from those guys, decks seem to be doing pretty okay. And what is the idea? Well, it's pretty much a trap finisher. You're relying on Pitfall Trap, Eorveth, to basically make the opponent's finisher very weak, nullify their big plays at the end of a round 3, particularly, along with crushing traps and a bit of movement synergy with Dragoons, Ciaran, and Brouver's hero ability to get some nice long round value from those. Horn is also a nice little trap to just give you some easy points on the board that the opponent won't be able to interact with, won't be able to destroy or damage, and that's helped as well by Synthesis, who provides a really chunky body that you can boost up, and that won't be vulnerable to all the damage effects of things like Crack or whatever else. And aside from that, we just have a lot of good value plays, things like Unicorn, Chironex, Molegion, all very nice removal cards. Blue Dream as well is very helpful. The rest, and of course, yeah, thinning with Witches, but the rest of the deck is just very low 4 provision cards, which aren't very good, but they do fill out the deck and make sure you have enough provisions to run the other power plays. Now, typically the round 3 finisher is Eorveth's Gambit, although you can sometimes use that in different points in the game. And this will pull out maybe a Crushing Trap, Pitfall Trap, something like that. Nice combo to finish a round off, denying the opponent's final few plays, which they may have held on to, save them for later. And, of course, getting the long round value from Crushing Trap with a bit of movement, as we said already. So that's kind of the idea of the deck. In practice, it is pretty fun to play. Lots of little tips and tricks you can do, and quite difficult to work out what you need to do. You definitely want to win round 1 if you can, which often means you'll have to commit Unicorn, Chironex, or maybe other tools to do that. If you're able to get to round 3, preferably with Last Say and a lot of your powerful traps left, then you're usually going to be in a good spot to win against a lot of decks. But Eredin was giving a problem because even round 3 is going to be hard against him, even if you are having Last Say and whatnot. And Crack for kind of a similar reason, although his is more, he can push you round 1 very easily and win round 1 and bleed and whatnot. Anyway, that's the deck. Hope you guys enjoy the gameplay. Let's jump into a game or two. Okay, first up, going to be Crack opponent. Now, I do think this is probably one of the most viable Scoia'tael decks at the moment, so, although I haven't tried too many. I know a lot of people like Philavandrel as well. I do have a video of that on the channel as well, if you haven't seen it, but not sure if my version is the exact version that people are running. Probably isn't. Anyway, let's start by mulliganing some of our kind of rubbish, low provision cards here. Probably Hawker Healer can go. Maybe a Skirmisher and then a Wolf Pack. Alright, now yeah, the objective here will be to win round 1. We don't have Witches, which are the typical opening play here. We could just go with maybe a Horn. Going to be a bit vulnerable to Bomb Heaver though. But that's potentially just a risk that we have to take, I think. We're going to use that as a way to hopefully push this round, get a few points where we might otherwise not find them. And it will mean Marauder's awkward for him if he doesn't have Spear to commit here, which I think isn't that bad either. Going to be Witches from the opponent though. But now we can think about all sorts of players. I think Wolfpack would be quite nice. Just a bit of a low commitment card to throw out. Get rid of those, really bad cards around 1. That would also be nice in addition to winning. If we can. We also need to be worried about Eorveth's Gambit bricking later on. That can always happen, so going to keep it in mind when we're taking mulligans later on. Here I think Skirmisher looks pretty fine. We are quite a few points behind because of the Witches and whatnot. We'll then use tactical advantage on that, of course, to make sure we don't have damaged units for Bloodthirst and all that. Right now we're ahead a little bit, but we're going to definitely have to commit maybe Kyrenex Unicorn here to actually escape this round, most likely. That's a real objective, escape the round. We probably won't be able to win a long one against Crack reliably, especially if he's slamming tempo with witches and discard units and all that other stuff, which it looks like he is right now. So probably just go with that Kyrenex, see if he has an answer, and if he doesn't, we can get a lot of value from the Unicorn afterwards. But yeah, as I said before, Crack is a bit tricky because he definitely has the tools to push you in round one and really pressure you on even cards, or even, you know, yeah, you know what I mean. But looks like he's going to pass. Fair enough, we just get to take the round, that's pretty nice. And I think going into the long round against Crack, it might be a bit risky, but I kind of want to do it here. I think it will be a good idea just to make sure we retain our card advantage. Maybe if we draw the witches, we can play those to thin out our deck a little bit. Get rid of healer, and then we've got too many traps here, so we'll mulligan that. Of course, we only have 4 traps in the deck total, so we need 2 in the deck right now, and we only have 1 for Eorveth's Gambit to actually work. So passing here will give us quite a few mulligans. I think we'll be able to fix our hand up quite nicely. We do have witches in the deck still, but we'll worry about that when we, you know, when we get there, when they become something that we need to worry about. We might be getting a little bit wrecked by Spear in a long round, but he didn't play it round 1, so might not be a Spear version. A lot of them are running Horn instead. It's pretty common. The other thing is just their round 3 is hard to deal with because they have stuff like Herald, which kind of negates Crushing Trap value, and yeah, all sorts of other stuff. Looks like he's just playing more cards, I guess, choosing to dig deeper into the deck rather than getting extra mulligans, which is fair enough. And we draw 1 Witcher. So I think we'll get rid of 1 of the traps here, probably the Crushing Trap. Although, yeah, probably the Crushing Trap. Doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, Crushing Trap makes sense. Can then get rid of a Dragoon or an Elven Scout. Probably the Scout. I think these guys will just die. Witcher. And then I think we need to keep the rest of it. A little bit too risky to take the mulligan there. Here come the spears, the wonderful spears. We can definitely start with our immune unit then. And we can boost that up with Unicorn to give us some, you know, a bastion of points, I suppose, that he won't be able to interact with. Here, though, probably playing the Pitfall Trap is fine. Bit of a weird one, but we can kind of... I mean, he'll probably play a bad card into this. It's not the end of the world. I'm just trying to deny the spear value as much as possible, because I really don't want to take too much damage from that. So we could go with Eorveth and replay it, but it's going to be a bit obvious of a play. I think Unicorn's probably fine. We'll just make sure we buff Synthesis with that. And honestly, we could even throw a couple of Brouver charges onto this. Maybe we play around Scorch though. You might have it, they occasionally do. It might be good to move stuff anyway for Crushing Trap instead. We need to try to limit the spear value as much as possible. It's going to be really hard. Like, double spear is going to kind of hurt here, I think. We want to save the traps for later, of course. Oh, and Scorch as well. God, that's really nasty. Okay, well, guess we may as well start playing the rest of our cards then.
You should not have come here.
Yeah, not what you like to see. At least we didn't throw any Brouver charges onto that. But they just have all the answers, these Crack decks, it seems like. We're not running any artifact removal, which might be a mistake. Something like Ida could definitely be helpful against Crack, but the problem is, yeah, I mean, I've talked about artifacts and how silly they are in a different video, so you guys know the story on that one, but it really is kind of silly what's going on with them. Either way, we could go with the Eorveth now. I wonder if he has another bad card he's going to throw away. He might, but I think playing it now is We probably want to save it as late as possible. Maybe we can deny a wild boar or something. And likewise with Eskel, I think we want to save him to in fact deny the wild boar play. That being said, we kind of want to play him to thin our deck out a little bit. Double Crushing Trap we want to save as kind of our last, one of our last plays. So we could go with the Orveth now. Not a huge fan, to be honest. Just a Dragoon.
Slaughter them to a man.
Get that out of the hand. Not too worried about it for now. I think we need to wait on Witches and have them as one of our final plays as well. Maybe Witches is even our last play? Not sure. I want to have a big tempo swing that's not going to get completely nuked as our last play. We do have last say in the round, so if we can slam a lot of points at the end, then that is probably our best chance of winning. If we use all our points now, they'll just get removed by spears and wild boar and whatnot. I think saving those for later will be good. Blue Dream's also not looking great right now. Maybe we'll be 6 points on Captain if we're able to damage stuff with the traps or whatnot, but not looking too good. Probably go ahead and play Ciaran now, I think. And then maybe we think about going the traps. I kind of like that idea. Having last say is so huge here though, because we're just going to be able to deny a lot of spear value and value of potentially other cards as well. Oh, it's going to be Wild Boar, so just getting that out of the hand before it's too late and not very valuable anymore. Makes sense. So I think now we're going to play Eorveth, replay the Pitfall Trap.
I am who I need to be.
He doesn't know this is Pitfall Trap. He might think I'm, you know, baiting with Crushing Trap. That's something you can do if you have a Crushing Trap in hand. You can play the Crushing Trap after pulling Pitfall back to your hand. But okay, nice. We get to remove that guy. He would have caused a bit of an issue removing our artifacts otherwise. And okay, now we probably want to go Blue Dream. Can in fact not use it to destroy a spear. We could if we use Brouver charges, but I don't really want to do that. I kind of prefer playing the traps now, to be honest. We're going to brick a lot of his value on spears. We'll just go for that. We might miss a little bit of value with it, but I think it's the end of the world. As long as we're not allowing him to kill our stuff, that's probably good news. There's an Ulfodin. So I really do wonder if it's correct now to play Witches. I think it probably is, because we can then get more Blue Dream value when the Crushing Traps proc. And they will do that this turn effectively. We could also move Ulfodin and kill a spear for what effectively is a couple of points on top of the 4. Maybe that's a good way to go. If I go Witches, I'm vulnerable to Svanrigger, so I think I'm going to go for that route, to be honest. Kind of prefer it. Yeah, I think this is the way to go. Just destroy one of the spears. And we'll see if we've got it. We're killing basically all of his points right now, so we're ahead at the moment. And we have Witches plus our leader still, so in theory we should be okay here, I think. Having the last say is really the deal breaker in this matchup. And it's just going to be a Donar. Not very good for him. So yeah, saving the Witches pays off. And you see the power of the traps, of course. They do really help you survive against those artifacts. Managing to win a long round against Crack Wild Boar is pretty cool. Anyhow, let's jump into another one and see if we can take another game. And our next opponent will be Henselt. I haven't really seen too much Henselt recently. Let's see what the opponent's got. Usually I want to say Northern Realms isn't too much of a problem. You can avoid a lot of their tricky stuff in round 3 with the traps, and they don't push round 1 particularly hard because of engine value that they need to get, typically. Let's go to the Hawker Healer, a Witcher, and then we could maybe risk the Wolf Pack. I'm going to go for it. The Dragoons are probably quite good against Northern Realms because a lot of their engines are row locked, right? So we can start with the Witches here though. We're typically going to do that if we have them in hand. We didn't last game, but we do now. Got Eorveth's Gambit as well over here. What's this? And fortunately, we can kill that immediately with good old Skirmisher because he played it in the melee row. Go ahead and do that and boost him up as well. 15-point lead is not too bad. We can take an early pass if we have to, but ideally we want to win this round, and probably pushing would be a good plan, I think. I think I'm going to kill that because it just represents a bit of a threat in terms of the points you can get. And 4 is it's a bit of an awkward amount of damage against a lot of NR's engines. They're usually at 5 strength, so I think getting the value on it there is perfectly fine. Here we can play a Wolf Pack. Just get rid of one bad card, and then we'll see if the Dragoons find value. If not, we might not play them. We might take a pass instead. Really, as long as we get to round 3 without being bled, we're kind of happy as a trap deck. They're very vulnerable to being bled because their cards can be 0 points potentially if, you know, your opponent ditches the round immediately. So he's not really pushing that much tempo. I think we're kind of okay to play one of these Dragoons. Henselt's a pretty scary ability though, we should be aware of that. But yeah, it looks like we're going to take the win. That's very cool. We can go ahead and dry pass to round 3 properly and hopefully do the same as we did against Crack. Just winning that. But yeah, as I said, you really want to push round 1 if you can. Using Unicorn Kyrenex is fine to do that. Like Molegion even told me that himself, so it's good to know. Let's mulligan the Dragoon. It's not the best card ever. Might not even draw cards that are better than it, but it's fine. Got to make sure our traps are enabled in the deck as well. We do have 2 at the moment, so as long as we don't draw any more. It's Pavetta. So he probably wants to do Draug shenanigans, I want to say, in this round 3. Which is a bit scary, but at the same time, won't be the end of the world necessarily. Although, playing the Scout might indicate otherwise. Either way, having last say with this deck just means you can kind of control the board a little bit and save your big plays for later on if you have to do that. Let's get rid of a healer. I think the Scout as well, I don't really like her in round 3. And then a Trap, because we have too many of them in hand. End up with the Dragoon again, which is fine. Honestly, maybe Mulligan and Crushing Trap was better, because we can use that as a, you know, very easy 4 damage on a row. Whatever, I don't think it matters too much. This guy. This guy again. We could definitely lock him if we're thinking about blue stripes. More of them coming out. But if we're scared of other engines, then we can maybe just let him have that stuff. They are going to be pretty vulnerable to Crushing Traps. Like, both the Crushing Traps will effectively kill them, so I think I'm not too scared. I'll just go to Synthesis here. Don't really want to worry about that stuff. If he has something that's more than 4 strength, it then won't die to the Crushing Trap, so we might need to deal with it. All this will just get, you know, wrecked. And it looks like he has another one in hand even. So it was the correct decision to not lock it, I think. So Wolfpack seems fine. We could also not. Actually Dragoon might just be better. Or even, you know what I like here? I like just playing the Unicorn. We can make sure we boost up our Dragon. Get those 12 points that are hopefully not going to get Scorched or Yerden. Those are kind of the only common cards that could deal with it. That's going to be a Revenant. So the lock does seem quite appealing here. We can always use a Brouver charge and Wolfpack to kill it as well. I do like the lock though. That's what we're going to use here to deal with that guy. We don't even need to be that scared of that single dude, but I think erring on the side of caution when it comes to Revenants is typically a good idea. And with that in mind, I'm going to kill this one as well. I'm going to deal with it. Because I'd rather he didn't get too many units on the board. If there are too many, I won't be able to move them all into Crushing Trap. We then may have a bit of a problem, potentially. But okay, what have we got now? We can also Blue Dream that. Not really worth thinking about right now anyway. I do think Horn is going to want to come down now. Put that in the middle here. And yeah, just going to wait. We obviously want to play Gambit and then Eorveth. I think I should have mulliganed the Trap. That's something that doesn't come up too often. but is quite relevant. There's Iris, kind of an annoying one. Gonna get him some points, but we're not even that far behind, so not the end of the world. He does of course have his leader still available though. So I think now is Gambit time probably. We could wait on it even longer to be honest, if we wanted to. But I think it's fine to play it now. We're gonna have double Crushing Trap anyway, so it's fine, right? If we want, we can use Dragoon and our hero ability to move some stuff around. That's going to be a Sabrina, which doesn't really surprise me. We could move it if we're scared of that damage coming through, but I'm not really that afraid. I'm not sure how he's going to kill it anyway, since we can kill 2 of his cards here. And if he has an orders effect that is doing the killing, then he won't be able to play it effectively, because, yeah, it's pretty straightforward, right? So I think instead we're just going to move stuff. I'm not going to bother moving the Revenant. Just move everything to melee here. And all this stuff is going to get smacked. Which is very nice. So now he basically can't play a card here. If he has orders and needs to proc them, okay, Vernon Roach is a way he can do it, to be fair. That is pretty good for him. And Vest does give Zeal, so really not a bad pull from him, to be perfectly honest. But we're still ahead in points. We're still a card up. I don't think we're in too much trouble right now. We can definitely go with that Ayorveth, but I think I want to save it because he will probably get greedy here and use his good order effect at the end, I want to say. However, if we do that, that means we need to play Crushing Trap. Nah, I think this is better. Plus, we want to get a Blue Dream target, and potentially the Pitfall Trap replay will give us exactly that. So let's go with it again. If we kill a unit with this, we can then res it, is the idea. So hopefully his last 2 cards are pretty good. We can then take one of them and Crushing Trap. Crushing Trap obviously going before, because he needs a whole turn or 2 to proc. I really like how much you have to think with this style of deck though, it's very cool. And that's going to be a Draug just getting wrecked. So Crushing Trap now, and we can take Draug. It won't do too much, but that'll be our final play. Now he needs a lot of points here, but he might get somewhere close to it with Henselt if it's enabled. I don't think it is though. Oh no. Poor Henselt. Blue Dream. Interesting to note, Blue Dream doesn't actually proc Pitfall Trap, so that's kind of a soft counter to it. If you have one of those in hand and you play all your units out before they get their Pitfall Trap down, then that's a way to deal with that issue. But looks like we got him. We'll just play out the last card to see how close it was. I mean, it wasn't very close, but he did have a dead leader ability in this game. 1 Kedo any Revenant, eh? And that's going to be another convincing win. So, pretty good deck in my opinion. Maybe even the best that Scoia'tael has to offer right now. Maybe Philovangel's good as well, who knows. But I was having a lot of fun with this one. If you guys try it out, I hope you do as well. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.